Want to welcome you guys back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast presented by FanDuel. We're doing a podcast on the couch. I have not done a podcast on the couch probably since last summer, but we're going to get into how the Detroit Pistons won this game, how they forced a Game 7 in this Eastern Conference semifinals. We'll be going over our quarter notes, box score, team stats, open up the show to comments and questions like we usually do, you guys. But man, what a freaking game. I'm so hype. I still feel like this game took 15 years off my life. That's why I call the Pistons the cardiac kids. Like, they literally give me chest pains like all season, but I love it. I love that we're still playing basketball in the second week of May, and have a chance to make the Eastern Conference Finals and see the New York Knicks. Like, not getting too ahead of ourselves. Still have to win Game 7, but man, what a game. Let's get into the quarter notes. My brain is just going a million miles an hour right now. So to start, Duncan Robinson and Kevin Huerter and Caris LeVert were all questionable before the game. They came back. Apparently, Kevin Huerter got injected with some sort of, I don't even want to know, so he could play in this game. Some ESPN guy said that. Duncan Robinson was back, but he didn't start. Danius Jenkins actually started. This is the first time in Duncan Robinson's stint with the Pistons where he actually came off the bench. Man, was he good off the bench tonight? We'll kind of get into his overall impact. But to start this first, the Pistons' offensive rebounds, man, they were so great. They were crashing the glass. They were so aggressive. They were able to just get second chance opportunities to get more points on the board. And after getting an early lead, Cleveland expected, to go on the run because they're a good basketball team. They do. They went on a 10-2 run. They got back within 2, and then they turned that 10-2 run into another 7-0 run. So it was overall a 17-7 run. When the Pistons did struggle to get good looks at the rim, and you have to credit Jared Allen and Evan Mobley very early on in this first quarter. There was a TV timeout in the first quarter, and Caris LeVert came in, and the bench unit came in, and just had some really great moments, really, crucial points for them. Detroit forced Dennis Schroeder twice in this first quarter with a double dribble violation. Can't say I've ever seen Dennis Schroeder actually have a double dribble violation in all his years in the NBA. But our ball handlers, our defensive players, really forced their ball handlers into some really tough actions. But to end this quarter, the Pistons just decided, like, okay, let's lock in, let's get serious. They throw a lob to Jalen Duren. He gets fouled, misses both free throws. Danius Jenkins crashes the glass, and then Evan Mobley fouled him, and they were able to get a 2-point lead in the end of the first quarter on a 10-2 run. So, you start the first quarter, crashing the glass. Cleveland hits their run. And then after the TV timeout, you just make so many great stops. Asar Thompson had his hands everywhere in this game. And apparently he's a villain now. We'll get into the villainy of Asar Thompson in Cleveland. For you guys that didn't get a chance to watch this game, maybe you just saw some highlights. But to start the second quarter, we got some Paul Reed minutes. We didn't have to wait till the second half. Or I should say the third or fourth quarter to actually play Paul Reed. Paul Reed got some rotational minutes in the second quarter, and he was huge, you guys. He was so huge in this game. Shout out to B-Ball Paul, man. Pistons extended their 10-2 run that they ended the first quarter into a 21-4 run. So, within the first 3 minutes of the second quarter, they were just playing excellent. Cavs were sped up. They were turning the ball over, and the Pistons were getting to their sets. They were rotating defensively, and Cleveland looked a little tight. Like, they were, the pressure was on them to try to close this game out at home. They had not lost a home playoff game from the first series to this series. This was actually their first time that they actually did lose to the Pistons. Asar Thompson, now this is where the villainy started. He got a flagrant one on Sam Merrill. Now, initially, when they show the replay, bang, bang, doesn't really look like there's too much, but apparently he kind of grabbed Sam Merrill to the throat and threw him down. Now, the reason why I laughed at this play in particular, he kind of did the Allen Iverson step over. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you're probably similar to my age, or maybe you're older, where Allen Iverson disrespectfully stepped over Tyronn Lue. Now, the Stars wasn't as violent as AI, but you had Cavs fans literally saying throw him out for a flagrant one foul, but he did get one. Cavs did gain some momentum from that flagrant one. The Pistons were up as much as 12 points in this second quarter. They get it within 7. Cade Cunningham, just his overall impact in this game was really felt. His 3-point shot continues to look excellent, which I'm so happy because when he's hitting threes, he's such a tough cover. He had some defensive deflections, some really good defensive rotations in the second quarter. Jalen Duren's activeness in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, all freaking game, man. Best game I've seen out of Jalen Duren. We'll kind of probably get into him, but I'm really happy that he was able to lock in and, be just a disruptor, protecting the rim, crashing the glass, defensive and offensive, but probably the best game I've seen him play all series. Sar Thompson did pick up his 3rd foul, so he did have to see the bench in like the last maybe 90 seconds of the second quarter. The Pistons are up, over 10 points. And it was a 7-0 swing on these 2 turnovers. There was one where Cade went to go dump the pass off to Duncan Robinson. Donovan Mitchell kind of anticipated that, and he played the passing lane and then scored. And the very next possession, he tried to dump it off to Jalen Duren. It was another turnover, and the Pistons actually fouled. I can't remember who went to the free throw line, but they missed, crashed the glass, and then they were able to get a 3. So it was a 7-0 run to end the second quarter. And, that 12-point lead that Detroit had turned into a 3-point lead. So it's 54-51 after 2 quarters of play. But overall, I'm so proud of this team, the way they came out in the third quarter. All series long, Cleveland has been the better team coming out of halftime. I think they showed a graphic where Cleveland's been at plus 28 and just the point differential in the third quarter. The Pistons came out of halftime so aggressive defensively. Cleveland decided we're going to attack Tobias Harris as much as we can. And he picked up so many fouls to the point where he picked up his 4th, and they got to the free throw line because of it. But the Pistons just stayed in attack mode. Coming out of halftime, 13-4 run. Jalen Duren, unfortunately, did roll his ankle. Didn't really see him until the fourth quarter. But Paul Reed came in, and man, just the impact that Paul Reed has had in these playoffs, in this series particularly, it's been so impressive, man. Like, this is a third-string center coming in and just being productive, scoring points, getting those hustle plays, getting those 50-50 balls, boxing out, protecting the rim. Like, we needed all of Paul Reed's and Jalen Duren's points tonight. Like, it was just so huge. I was really proud to see the effort from him continue to just bring that production. Duncan Robinson off the bench. Man, he was just hitting huge 3-pointers, huge shots all night. I don't know how his back is feeling. Obviously, JB wanted to roll with Danis in the starting lineup. And Duncan did his thing. Like, Duncan is a really good basketball player. It's a guy that has been to NBA Finals with the Miami Heat. He's the one player on this team that has the most playoff experience out of anybody on this roster. And you saw his experience just being able to hit those 3-point shots, timely 3-point shots. If he did get run off the 3-point line, he was making really good decisions. There was one play in particular where they ran him off the 3-point line and he found a wide open Paul Reed for an easy basket. Like, having him off the bench is such a luxury. I don't know if JB is going to try to roll with that for Game 7. It'll be interesting to see how his rotations are, but I absolutely loved his rotations tonight. I thought they were excellent. He made adjustments. I know we've been really hard on him with his rotations, but it's growth. Like, obviously you don't want to get eliminated, and he did a really good job with the rotations. Pistons did surge to end the third on a 10-2 run, and they go up 84-70. So you have a 14-point lead going to the fourth quarter. I want to give this guy a shout out, Marcus Sasser. Now, Marcus Sasser is not an everyday rotational player, and we know that. We know the shooting guard room is extremely guard heavy, the 2 guard position. He just came in, especially in the second half, and just hit such big shots. Like, he stayed ready. I was so impressed with him just hitting those shots, going one-on-one versus James Harden and not being afraid of the moment. Jalen Duren did come back in the fourth quarter, and, he looked good. Obviously, the ankle, I was a little bit worried. As you guys know, he's had several ankle injuries. He's worn ankle braces on both of his ankles for the past 2 seasons now. But he was able to come back in, gave the Pistons some good minutes. Asar picked up his 5th foul. Now, honestly, the 5th foul I was not in love with. Evan Mobley and him were kind of just like shoving each other. Asar shoved them back, and he got a foul call for that, which I was like, okay, that's where we're at with this. Okay. But the Pistons continued to keep their foot on the gas, hitting their shots, making stops, making sure, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, weren't going to take over. They had a really good job of protecting the rim and running those guys off the 3-point line. JB did decide to put Paul Reed back into the game after Asar Thompson did foul out. Danish Jenkins was also huge in this fourth quarter. He hit some big shots. And it's good to see him be productive in the scoring department. I know there was a couple of games in this series, particularly, games 4 and 5, where actually, I'm sorry, 3 and 4, where, he wasn't really scoring like he was in games 1 and 2. But these past 2 games, games 5 and 6, he's been excellent of, taking on James Harden, crashing the glass, being a pest defensively out there. And, this is his first playoffs too. Like, even though he did play last season, I'm still counting this as his rookie year. Like, this is his first full season, with the Detroit Pistons getting consistent minutes. Like, last year, I'm not really going to count because it was the end of the season. I'm just not going to count it. But I was really impressed by Dana stepping up. Cleveland waved the white flag, though. Last 2 minutes of the game, they're putting in guys that haven't played all series. So the Pistons do force Game 7, you guys. Final score in this one, 115-94. Game 7 will be on Sunday. I don't have the exact time. I know the broadcast said it could be at 2 separate times. I think it's dependent on what happens with this Minnesota and San Antonio game. But they do force Game 7. That will be on Sunday in Detroit. But, man, just like the overall effort with this squad tonight, like, I loved it. I love the focus. I love the attention to detail with these guys. If you play like that in Detroit on Sunday, you're winning. You're 100% winning. You're getting that effort out of Duren and Reed. There's nothing Evan Mobley or Jared Allen can do. You kind of contain Donovan Mitchell and James Harden where they're not going to the free throw line like 15 to 20 times. You're going to win that game on Sunday and advance to your first Eastern Conference Finals since 2008. Like, it's been a while since the Detroit Pistons have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and New York Knicks are waiting. They're waiting. They want to see who is going to be playing, whether it's the Pistons or the Cleveland Cavaliers. I do want to kind of get into the box score, and then we'll open up the show to comments and questions with you guys. But let's kind of get into the box score with this team. So Tobias Harris, I saw some people leave comments like, he didn't really have his best game. He did have 4 personal fouls. Me personally, when I was watching Tobias tonight, he looked pretty gassed. In 25 minutes, he dropped 6 points. He was 2 out of 7 from the field, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals. He just looks really winded at times. I don't know if these long series are taking a toll on him. He is the oldest player on this roster. He's my age. So he's 33. I'm 34. So I feel it, man. Probably playing every other day. All the miles that he's had playing in the NBA for 15 plus years. I'm tired. Hopefully he's well rested for Game 7 and we get a good performance out of him because these past 2 games hasn't really been up to par. Because he had that streak where he was scoring 20 straight. Maybe he just needs a little bit of an ice bath and he'll be ready for Game 7 on Sunday. Jalen Duren, man. We got to give Jalen Duren his flowers tonight. 27 minutes, 15 points, 7 out of 10 from the field, 1 for 4 from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 3 blocks, +9 in the plus minus. I know we've been extremely hard on Jalen Duren, and deservedly so. He has not brought consistent effort that we have been accustomed to in the regular season. Now, I always say, if we just take our sports fandom hat off for 20 seconds, we really don't know what goes on in these players' lives. I'm not making an excuse for Jalen Duren. I don't know if he's going through anything off the court, but in a human level, I hope everything is good in his life. I hope he's not going through anything whatsoever. But if you play like you did tonight in Game 7, no doubt in my mind you're winning. No doubt in my mind. You can bully Evan Mobley. You got a good 40 pounds on the guy. You can bully Jared Allen. There's no one in their front court that is stronger than you. There's no one in their front court that can stop you. I mean, as soon as I saw him hit that kind of crossover and he hit the tongue tonight, like, I knew, like, you know, that JD was back. Hopefully we get that same kind of performance in Game 7, but I have to give him his flowers. I can't shit on the dude 24/7. I was really happy to see the production tonight. Cade Cunningham didn't have his best game. 42 minutes, 21 points, 7 out of 19 from the field, 5 out of 10 from 3, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 turnovers, plus 13. The 7 turnovers, obviously, you don't really want to see. You don't want to see him turn the ball over that many times. Didn't really shoot the ball the best from the field outside of his, you know, his 3-point shot, which looks really good. You got to get those turnovers down a little bit. And I expect him to turn up back at the crib. I really do. He's really put some great games together at home for the Detroit Pistons fans in Detroit. So I expect Cade Cunningham to come out very aggressive for Game 7 and try to close this one out very early on. Sar Thompson, 24 minutes. He did foul out. Did 10 points, but the stat line is just insane for Sar Thompson. 4 out of 6 from the field, 2 out of 3 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 turnovers, 4 steals, 1 block, 5 offensive rebounds. He was just everywhere in this game. He's getting so confident as a defender to the point where the fact that he had that many steals very early on, I won't be surprised if he actually has like a 10 steal game at some point in his career. He is just so like creative the way he just gets over the top of screens. Like, he's just a step ahead of ball handlers. I know there was a little bit of, you know, dust up with him and Sam Merrill, and then, you know, he was frustrated with the whistle tonight, but overall his defense was excellent. Just have to have him stay out of foul trouble. I could see Cleveland try to bait him a little bit, but hopefully, you know, he's got a level head and he doesn't crash out. But really liked what I saw of Sar Thompson tonight. Even with the little, you know, if you guys want to call it a choke slam, I don't know. I saw some people call it a choke slam. That wasn't really a choke slam on Sam Merrill, but overall, really liked what I saw of Sar. Danish Jenkins, 31 minutes in his second consecutive start, 15 points, 5 out of 11 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 offensive rebound. He was a plus 12. Didn't have a personal foul at all, which that's progress by him, because last game he did have a lot of fouls on trying to defend James Harden at home, but he was really huge. I mean, if you're getting 15 points out of Danish Jenkins, you're pretty happy. But I think when you really look at the bench, they're a very big reason why the Detroit Pistons won this game. I remember talking about it last game. Someone's like, who's going to be stepping up for Cade Cunningham in Game 6? It was the bench. It wasn't just one player in particular. Like, Duncan Robinson in 20 minutes had 14 points. 4 out of 7 from the field, 4 out of 7 from 3, 2 out of 3 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. You know, coming off a back injury. He looked great. He looked great out there. You know, Paul Reed in 16 minutes had 17 points. 7 out of 9 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 2 out of 3 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 block. He's a plus 8. Paul Reed has been huge all playoffs for the Detroit Pistons. Itzolu Smith kind of played garbage time. They couldn't even like chalk up a minute. Like that's how much he played. Isaiah Stewart only played 4 minutes, 1 rebound. I still the rotation minutes are weird with Stu. He's only playing in the first half, and it's very limited. It's like 5 to 10 minutes. Like I know he did that article with Cody Davis saying like it's speculation. I'm 100% healthy, but it's really weird to only play him like 5 to 10 minutes, and you're only playing in the first or second quarter. So don't really know what's going on there. But Paul Reed has just been so great. You're probably rolling with him, but kind of intrigued with where Stu is at, even though he did say he was healthy. Ron Holland did play in garbage time, got 2 minutes, didn't really do anything. Karis LeVert in 29 minutes had 8 points. He was 3 out of 7 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, 1 block with a plus 12. Marcus Sasser off the bench was huge too. 18 minutes, 9 points, 4 out of 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal. Plus 27, led the entire team in plus minus. Shaz Lanier did get a little bit of garbage time, 1 minute. And Javonte Green has not been in the rotation, really. JB Bickerstaff has decided to just roll with other players in the bench unit. That's kind of where Javonte has been. And then Kevin Herter didn't play a coach's position. I mentioned earlier, ESPN reporter had reported that he's had an abductor strain and he got injected so he could play tonight just in case, but JB decided not to play him. I don't know what he got injected with. I don't know, but pretty crazy. Pretty crazy getting injected for a playoff game. It reminds me of Blake Griffin getting injected. I'm sure you guys remember like the Stone Cold Steve Austin brace that he had during the Buck series. But you look at this team stats for the Pistons and the Cavs. Pistons shot a better percentage than Cleveland, 52% to Cleveland's 39. They were 43 out of 82 to Cleveland's 30 out of 77. The three-point shot was falling tonight. 16 out of 33, 44% to Cleveland's 34, where they were only 12 out of 35. Free throws, Pistons shot 68%, where they were 13 out of 19. Cleveland was 73%, where they shot 22 out of 30. Rebounds, Pistons won that battle by 43 to 40. They got 13 offensive rebounds. Cleveland got 16 offensive rebounds, which you don't really want to see another team get 16 offensive rebounds. But I swear, at times this team is a very good rebounding team, but there are just moments and possessions through a game where they just kind of stand there. And it's really infuriating because nobody boxes out, which I think it's just the NBA thing. Teams just don't box out anymore. I sound like an old head right now, but you did win the rebounding battle by 3. You won the assist battle 25 to 15. Cleveland was not really passing the basketball. They were just kind of letting James Harden and Donovan Mitchell just kind of go ISO mode. You tied the steals department 9-9. Had more blocks 7-3. Won the turnover game, which you don't want to see 18 turnovers. That's a lot. Cleveland had 20, but you forced Cleveland to turn the ball over 20 times. Points conceded off turnovers, 17 for the Pistons, 28 for the Cavs. Fast break points, you won that battle as well, 14-8. Points in the paint, you dominated that as well, 48 to 26. Fouls, Pistons had 22, Cleveland had 18. No technical fouls in this one, and one flagrant foul, which was on Asar Thompson. But overall, this was just a very good game by the Detroit Pistons. I was really happy with just the overall effort from this team. I do want to get into the Q&A with you guys. We're just going to take a quick break. And after we come back, we'll get into Q&A. We'll make the podcast about you guys for the rest of the show. Talk about how the Detroit Pistons won Game 6. What can they do for Game 7 so they can advance to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then after that, probably wrap it up. But we will be right back after a quick break, you guys. Okay, guys, we're back. Thank you for staying patient. We're going to get into Q&A. Lots of good questions from you guys as always, so we're going to be getting into that. One of the first questions that I did see, I absolutely love. It wasn't really a question; it was more of just an observation, and I do want to put it on the screen. And this is from MSU Detroit fan, so shout out to him. He said, first it was the 2003 throwback in Orlando series, which you guys remember, the Pistons were down 3-1 to Tracy McGrady, and they were on the brink of elimination. They get Tayshaun Prince on T-Mac, and they finish up the series in advance of the Eastern Conference semifinals. And he says, and now we got the 2006 throwback. So for you guys that don't know what the 2006 throwback was, I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys because CBS Sports actually posted this, and I wanted to actually talk about it on the podcast. So they say history repeats itself. So 2006 Eastern Conference semifinals. It's just like so wild. The Pistons were the number 1 seed, and the Cavs were the number 4 seed. So how that series went, Pistons win the first 2 games at home. Cleveland proceeds to win the next 3 games, and then the Pistons win out the series to advance to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, so far this series, the Pistons won their first 2 games in 2026, and then the Cavs have, before tonight's game, won 3 straight, and then the Pistons won again to force a Game 7. Now, if they win Game 7 and send Cleveland home, like, it's just wild, man. Like, the 2003 first-round series against Orlando, I was a young kid. Well, obviously, I didn't really know the game of basketball. I was just a fan. Like I didn't really understand like how big of a deal it was to be down 3-1 and come back. But this would be an incredible feat if the Detroit Pistons were able to, upset Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland is a second apron team. They're the most expensive team in the NBA, but history does repeat itself sometimes. It would be wild if that happened twice in a playoff run with the Pistons. Don't know if there's a New York Knicks Pistons series where they come back or they come back to win, but I know we're projecting a little bit. We obviously have not advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals yet, but I did want to kind of put MSU Detroit's fans' comment on the screen and kind of discuss it during the Q&A because I think it's a really good observation by him. 2003 comeback by the Pistons, and then the 2006 comeback by the Pistons. It's wild that the Cavs were the 4 seed and the Pistons were the 1 seed. Like the parallels are absolutely crazy, but really good observation by him. Appreciate everyone that is watching live right now. If you guys could, it does help out the YouTube channel a ton. You can hit that like button. That's all I really ask. I don't care if you're subscribed or not. If you guys want to just support the channel in any way, shape, or form, hitting the like button does go a long way. If you're an audio listener and you do enjoy the Detroit Pistons content that we do all year long, give us a 5-star review wherever you do get your podcast. We're available on all audio platforms. Let's get to Marquez. Gut check, personified, determination, resolve, never say die, Game 7, see you in Detroit. I heard JB Bickerstaff on Game 5, and a reporter had kind of asked him, like, what's the message and the mindset going into tonight's game? He said, you're going to have to choke the life out of us to eliminate us. And, like, I think that's just kind of the mentality of this team, kind of just like that they have the slogan, all dog. This team has just such a resolve and a resiliency where it's really going to take a team a lot to eliminate the Detroit Pistons. Like I heard some New York Knicks ESPN radio host today saying, like, I'd rather play Cleveland than Detroit. No one wants to go up like against a defense like Detroit because it's just so frustrating to try to play in a playoff series. But this was a gut check. Like, your season was on the line. You were the number 1 seed all year. There's so much expectations, not only from Detroit Pistons fans, but, people nationally too. Like, I don't know how many times I heard Kevin Harlan on the broadcast tonight saying the number 1 seed Detroit Pistons, are they going to get upset? And it was like, I kind of had to like take a step back. I was like, would it be an upset if we lost in the second round when we haven't really won in the second round in quite a long time? But I'm happy they were able to get this win. But yeah, man, I'm so glad that they locked in mentally. We have a comment from DJ Billy Bob, who is actually a Pistons Talk member. Shout out to him. You guys can become Pistons Talk members if you want. You get a cool little sticker and a bunch of other perks if you guys do want to join that. Jalen Duren looks like he did all season. Dunk was huge. Back on the bench. 29 more than the Cavs. JB is finally using some different looks with the bench. And oh my God, B-Ball Paul, this guy is my hero. Lots to get into from DJ Billy Bob with this comment. It was so refreshing to see Jalen Duren back to the player that we saw all regular season, being able to just impose his will against opposing front court players. And I thought in game one, he didn't have a terrible game, but I thought what I saw from him in game one was he was able to get Jared Allen in a lot of foul trouble. He was able to use his body and his size to just kind of overpower these bigs. And I'm like, Jared Allen isn't a small center whatsoever. He's pretty built, but Jalen Duren is just so strong as a basketball player. I still think he's figuring out different angles and different ways he can impact in the post. And that's really scary considering he doesn't even have a jump shot yet. But he did lock in. Again, if you get that Jalen Duren in game 7, you're advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals. Duncan Robinson, like I didn't know what to expect after, kind of coming back from that back soreness, that back tightness, whatever it was. And JB decided to kind of have him off the bench. He's never done that this season. So that was a really big gamble by JB Bickerstaff, actually kind of just saying like, hey, Dunk, we're going to have you off the bench in only 20 minutes tonight. Cool with that. And he was excellent, man. I know he has played off the bench in Miami with Eric Spoelstra before, but this was a first time for JB Bickerstaff. He decided I'm going to roll with Danish Jenkins next to Cade in the backcourt. And I really liked what I saw out of Duncan Robinson. Now, is that going to be a game 7 bench rotation? I'm not sure, but I think you do have to tip your cap to JB for, trying stuff in a game 6. It's an elimination game. Like if this doesn't work, I think we're a little bit more critical of JB Bickerstaff, but it did work tonight. The bench was huge. You're right. The bench was the MVP of this game. I know we talked about who's going to be that number 2 option, who's going to step up. It was the bench unit that stepped up tonight. And Paul Reed, man, like there's not enough that we can say. I saw someone at comment saying, stop saying that Paul Reed's our 3rd string center. That's what he's been. That he's been center 3 all season. Now, during the playoffs, he's been more of a center 2 because Isaiah Stewart, for what it's worth, it doesn't really seem like he's there. Now, I could just be projecting. I could, just be assuming by kind of just watching the way he's moving out there. It just doesn't really seem like he has had the same lift in the series. Tonight, he did look like he got some of that lift back, but, overall, Paul Reed has been your number 2 center, and he's looked great. He scored a lot of points. He's been really productive. He's actually been a really big mismatch nightmare for Evan Mobley. He's shooting a really high percentage against their bigs, but Paul Reed's been excellent. If anything, I think he's been the biggest X factor in this series for the Detroit Pistons, just because of, the play that he's been giving them, like, coming in when they're down, being that spark, being able to rebound, protect the rim, just cause havoc. That one shot that he had in the rim that like danced for like, it seemed like 30 seconds. that was this series in a nutshell of just like, is it going to go in? Is it going to stay up there? Is it going to be a jump ball? But really love what I'm seeing out of Paul Reed in the rotations. How about Sasser? Yeah, Sar's a freak on defense, but I don't think I've seen anything like it before. Sasser's been great, man. Obviously, we know that he doesn't have an everyday role, but JB has decided to give him more opportunity. I believe I don't remember what game it was, but it was garbage time, and he got that lead within 10, and Kenny Atkinson actually had to put the starters back in because he didn't want Cleveland to blow a last-second lead. But JB has continued to give Sasser, little minutes here and there and earning more minutes, and he was huge, definitely huge. He's always been a guy that I think a lot of us see the shot creation, we see the isolation packages that he has, his ability just to score at all three levels, and defensively he's a really good defender. He just doesn't really have a everyday role on this team, and it's not really his fault. It's just the guard rotation is just so heavy. But Sar Thompson on defense, man, he's honestly the best perimeter defender in the NBA. That might sound like a hot take or me being biased. He just is. It's the amount of ground that man covers is actually insane. Like I've never seen anything like that before. Jonathan says that Duncan needs to come off the bench for Game 7. I'm interested to see what does happen, Jonathan, because he's been a starter. I'm not opposed to starting Danish Jenkins next to Cade. I actually like the defense a little bit more from Danis. He is 6'4", able to stay in front of James Harden and make it a little bit more difficult. If you want to roll with Duncan Robinson off the bench of being a good 3-point shooter, you could do that as well. Who knows what's really going to happen with his back. I don't know if he's 100% healthy or not, but I did like JB kind of rolling the dice tonight and saying, hey, we're going to have Duncan off the bench. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in Game 7, man. It really will. Jay Hart, my guy, he's also a Pistons Talk member. Shout out to him. JB is understanding we are strength in numbers. Our motto is all dogs, but we've only been playing 7 dogs. We need all the dogs in the playoffs. I agree, man. Like, it gets to a point like where the playoff rotation, usually you see anywhere from 7 to 9, sometimes 10 guys. But JB has done, I think, at times during this playoff series, we're very frustrated that Paul Reed wasn't getting more minutes. But tonight, the rotations that he threw out, I have no complaints. I can't even nitpick anything. I know someone asked, like, why isn't Ron Holland playing? Like, I don't even really know where like you would actually insert Ron Holland in a game like this, where you needed all that offensive production, and we know that it's not really his strength right now. He's still developing, but overall, the all dogs motto, I absolutely love it. I know the Pistons actually do have some merch with all dogs. Obviously, they couldn't do Dog Pound because Cleveland owns that, which is kind of funny that we're playing in Cleveland and they haven't tried to mock the Pistons with the Dog Pound stuff. It's kind of weird knowing how petty Cleveland is. But I'm going to get into a couple more comments and questions. I love this comment by Cake Battered, saying the Pistons should give the belt to Kenyon Martin. For you guys that don't watch Gil's Arena on a regular, which I know they've kind of been, I don't want to say haters, but they're their own show. They're a very popular show at Underdog. Kmart had a lot of critiquing with the Detroit Pistons, and I felt like it came from a pretty positive place. I didn't think it was negative whatsoever. He said a couple of things. He said, there's no way a player like Jalen Duren should not have at least 10 rebounds, and he's right. He's just a physical center that should clean the glass. I mean, that's where he's going to make his living, is cleaning the glass. That's the first thing he said. The second thing he said was actually about Sar Thompson, saying, we know how gifted this kid is athletically. He's just got to be more aggressive. Like, you got 2 feet in the paint, and you're kind of having these hockey assists to Kate. Excuse me. What Kenyon said, I don't really think was out of bounds whatsoever. He's talking from, his experience playing in the NBA for quite some time. He was right about Jalen Duren. Like, he should at least grab 10 rebounds in a game. Like, there's no excuse why he shouldn't. He was right about Asar. Like, I'd love to see Asar go up strong a little bit. He's more athletic. He can, probably get his own miss. I mean, we've seen him just soar through the game. Like, that volleyball block that he had in the game was absolutely insane. Like, he is just an athlete where, like, you kind of talk about, like, this might sound crazy, but, like, like that 1% athlete that comes around like once in a generation. Like him and his brother are just absolute athletic freaks, and I mean that in the most sincere way. Like I've never seen um, someone that athletic. I know my neighbor who's a older Piston fan. He said it's very Dennis Rodman esque, where just his ability to grab rebounds and just be a defensive army knife or a Swiss Army knife, just being able to guard 1 through 5, get the rebounds, get steals, match up with just so many different people, but really am happy with his play. I know offensively we get frustrated with him at times, but overall I've been really happy with Asar's playoffs, and he's just breaking all kinds of records with his defense. Got a question from Motor City Ben Diesel. Serious question. I think we won't be able to play Isaiah Stewart and Paul Reed both on the roster for much longer. Who do you keep and who do you trade? I'd trade Stu for a first because of his bad knees. This is such an off-season question. I really don't want to get into trades after such a good win. I'm probably going to keep this as a topic for this summer, Motor City Ben Diesel. I want to focus on Game 6. I do love the question by you, though. I'm not going to give you my answer. I'll let people in the live chat debate it, but I will keep this question for this summer as we do have off-season content. But we do have a new member. Shout out to my guy Camille. I'm assuming you have not decided to bug me, because you bugged me for maybe like one day on IG and Twitter. I don't know if you found someone else the bug. I know you said that it's usually Kyle Metz that you do kind of like have fun with, troll a little bit. I know Kyle kind of takes his off season once, the trading deadline's over, but hope you're doing well, man. Appreciate you becoming a Pistons Talk member. But this is going to be a really fun Game 7. I want to go into a couple more comments and questions with you guys, and then we'll wrap up this post-game podcast. Is Javonte Green hurt? No, I don't think he's hurt. I think JB just decided that he wants to roll with a different rotation. I will say Javonte Green in the Orlando Magic series did bring some great defensive rotations, just some energy, hustle, but he gave him a little bit of a longer leash in the Cleveland series and decided, like, hey, I'm just going to play someone else. I'm going to, give Paul Reed more of a run. I'm going to play Tobias more of those minutes, because Tobias was just killing it for like the first 8 games where he's giving us 20 points. But overall, you really liked what Tobias was bringing, but Javonte isn't hurt whatsoever. I think it's just a situation where JB is just kind of rolling with who's ever hot right now. So Red Baron says, can you imagine the Olympics with the men and Asar and Cade on the floor at the same time? I'll talk about this because it's not really off-season content, it's Olympics. So I do know for a fact that Amen and Asar are not going to be competing on Team USA. I believe they are doing Team Jamaica with Isaiah Stewart. So imagine that. You could have the Thompson twins and Isaiah Stewart on the same team. And then with Cade's obviously going to make the next Olympic team. He's very close with Grant Hill, who makes the decisions for the roster. Cade Cunningham is probably going to be a starting guard in the Olympics in 28. It's probably going to be like him and Ant in the backcourt. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton's coming off the bench. But man, I can't imagine that. Like, I don't know if the Thompson twins are going to decide to play on Team Jamaica with Stu, but I know that's a couple years away. I kind of wish it was this summer, because I'd love to see like Amen and Asar with Stu out there. But man, those 2028 Olympics are going to be crazy. Yeah, it is for a fact that they're going to be playing on Team Jamaica together. So man, the Olympics are going to be good. They're going to be good. But I do want to kind of get to Camille's comment back to me. I'm good. I appreciate you asking. 2 weeks ago, Kyle texted me out of nowhere after months and said, "Thank God we have to buy Harris." I guess he missed me teasing him. Hey, man, I'm all good for trolls. Like, a lot of you guys do DM me. Someone actually DM me that they were mad that Jalen Duren didn't have an assist tonight. I'm like, bro, like, we just won Game 6. You're mad he didn't have an assist? I don't care. A double-double. Like, let's go. Like, let's go. Like, that's wild. I mean, if you want to nitpick a loss, I mean a win, go for it overall. But yeah, the Olympics are going to be crazy. They really are. But this Game 6 victory, man, like, as a Piston fan, I'm so happy they were able to force Game 7, because I wasn't really ready for off-season content. I don't know about you guys. When we do off-season content, I am stretching topics so thin. You guys get sick of me. You get sick of me just, having a guest on once a week on the weekends and just doing these podcasts throughout the summer. But I'm going to wrap up this show. I do have some more work to do. What a game. Pistons do win this one, you guys. Force a Game 6. Game 7 will be on Sunday. Don't know if the time has come out yet, but hope you guys have a great start to your weekend. And as always, go Pistons. Peace. We'll see you guys on Sunday.